Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of Agoracom in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives and catch up with what's happening at their companies. With us today, I'm happy to have him back again, Francis Dubé. He's co-CEO at Zen Graphene Solutions. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol ZEN. For those of you who are new to the story, Zenyatta discovered the largest and very rare ultra-high purity graphite deposit in Northern Ontario, referred to as the Albany Graphite Deposit. The company is now determined to illustrate the commercial viability of that project, and more than just lip service, they're now actively collaborating with 22 industrial end users and 10 Canadian universities. Here to talk about what's happening there is our good friend Francis. Welcome back.
Hi, George. Really happy to be back here. Thanks for having us.
Well, the good thing about having you back is we've had you on a lot. It means things are happening, right? Because we don't do these interviews for fluff, that's for sure. Things are going on, and I want to really talk to you about them and get some more clarity. You've had a couple of important press releases since the last time we spoke, and both of them here in March. The first one was some metallurgy news that you put out. You talked about that in that press release. You talked about having 99.8% purity. So most of us were not sure, is that the gold standard? Pardon the pun, is it the gold standard? Is it okay? How important was hitting that number?
It's a very important number, George. But you know, in the battery space, you even need higher than that in terms of the lithium-ion batteries. But in the graphene space, it's all about the applications, the end markets that the graphene is going into. At 99.8, we have an excellent precursor material for the graphene market, and we're very happy that we've been able to do that percentage. But most excited that we've been able to do this in a situation that really is similar to what we'll find as an industrial process. We're talking to these industrial users, as you discussed, 22 of them, and they need to know that we can produce industrial quantities of this material. And that news release last week, even though it was not appreciated really in the marketplace, is really a crucial, very important news release for us, that we can, meet these companies, look at them in the eye and tell them, yes, we have a process that is viable where we can produce this graphite at 99.8% on a constant, regular basis. So it's been a very important news release for us.
How about commercial scalability? So that purity level is great, but can you scale this to commercial needs that you might need in the future, that you're gonna need?
That's exactly what that news release was about. The conditions under which this was tested was what they referred to as locked cycles, where we would just repeat the cycle over and over, which was really trying to mimic what we see as an industrial process. And we were very successful. We could keep the purity, around 99.8. It was very successful. So from what James Jordan, our project manager, is telling me, we'll be able to do this at industrial scale, and that was very key for us on this process.
Now, Francis, you also have one more step in this process where you've got to take this, this highly pure graphite and convert it to graphene. Devil's advocate, that isn't an easy thing to do. So where are you in terms of, trying to get to that process with your partners or internally? What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's why we were lucky, George. We've always had a product that we knew was easier than any others to convert from graphite to graphene. Now the challenge is to scale it up and take it from lab scale and ramp it up. So we've been working with some good researchers in the last few months, specifically on ramping up production of graphene, where we can have a product or a process that's high yield, low cost, and environmentally friendly. And we hope to have some news for our shareholders on that in the next few months.
All right, let's switch gears over to the bulk sample. You just announced that. It seemed like it was pretty successful, but the one concern some people had was that you took out 100, it yielded 110 tons instead of 990 that you're aiming for. That was due to weather conditions. How big of a concern is that for you?
Really, George, it's not a concern. First of all, we got enough material to do all our testing, work with our end users, and do what we need to do to prove the business case this year. That was our number one priority. The Mining Act is why we went for a permit for 990 tons. Whether we applied for 100 tons or 990, it was the same process. So it was just normal for us to apply for the maximum amount that we could do on a permit. And that's what we did. Would we have liked to get more material? Of course we would have liked to, but the process started a little late. We only got our permits in January. We had to mobilize everything. Once we got there, the road building actually went very well. Once we got in there, some mornings were, less, colder than -50. Some of the machinery wouldn't start. So we had delays on that where we lost some days of production. And then, unfortunately, Mother Nature wasn't very generous on the other side. It warmed up relatively quickly. The actual drill rig is 80 tons. It's a truck-mounted rig, 80 tons. And, we couldn't take the risk of having that drill rig not be able to make it back to the highway. So we had to pull out early.
But to be clear, then, the 990 tons wasn't a number that you needed for your business plan purposes, and you fell short, and as a result, it's going to cause disruption or shortages to different potential strategic customers. It was just you maxed out because you figure why not max it out, but the 110 tons is sufficient for you to do whatever you got to get done.
Absolutely. This is going to give us around 4 to 5 tons of material. We can prove that our processes that we've been working on here work at industrial scale. We can prove that out to the market this year, prove our business case. We're going to be in excellent shape. And if there is an end user that wants more material, is willing to pay for it, hey, we've got the license, the permits in place. We can go back next winter and get it. As a bonus here, we did save some money on the process. We'll be able to have some of those funds left over to help fund other flow-through eligible expenses like the environmental assessment, which we're eager to get going on.
So now that you've got this 110 tons, explain to us what happens now with that. What are next steps, and what does the timeline look like for the process now that you've got it in hand? What does it look like?
So it is a multi-step process. We've got to take this ore, we've got to ship it to SGS in Lakefield. They're going to take it, and they've got the facility over there that over time, it will probably be into late May by the time this gets all done, but they can do the crush, grind, float to get it to an 86% concentrate. That's the first step. From there, that has to be shipped out to another company that we're working with. They are going to do the chemical upgrading from 86% to 99.8%. And our hope is that by the end of the summer, we're going to have 99.8% graphite, 4 or 5 tons of it that we can start producing graphene with at industrial scale and work with our industrial partners to functionalize that graphene into, cement, concrete, polymers, elastomers, monomers, different products that our end users are looking for. So September is really when we're looking to do graphene production at industrial scale.
And I know there's a test sizes for your partners, but does that come with revenue generation, or is that you guys, on your dime, getting it out to all the partners for free so that they can analyze it for their own applications and then potentially create great commercial relationships from there?
It's a great question, George. One of the things we did when we applied for this bulk sample is we actually applied for the right to sell this material and do some cost recovery. And we are allowed to charge for it. And yes, our industrial partners will help to defray some of the cost of this operation. And so, yes, the plan is to obtain some revenue from the bulk sample and have our industrial partners pay for the graphene they obtain from us, because it is a very high value product, as we all know.
So I'll save these questions for the next time, because I'd love to have a discussion with you now about or next about the specific applications like concrete and cement and cementing concrete and all those kind of things. But I don't want to go off on a tangent. So let me summarize up here. How happy is the company? How satisfied are you with how things have gone this quarter according to your business plan, and especially the metallurgy news, the bulk sample? On a scale of 1 to 10, how high did you guys hit it?
Honestly, George, we're at a 9.5 right now. We couldn't be happier. The company's never been in a better position right now. We are about to prove that we can do graphene production at an industrial scale. We've been working on this since we got in there. Our business plan was to scale this up. We've got some work still ahead of us here, but we've got the material now to work with it. We got the process from ore to graphite. We're working on the graphite to graphene side of things. We've got a lot of news coming up on the development side here. The market development work has continued in the background. We're about to have some news on that in the next few weeks. We're honestly in a fantastic position right now.
Yeah, and I got to admit, it sounds exciting. I want to ask you more, but I'm always concerned that I'd ask you stuff that would be, material news that you haven't properly disclosed, so I don't even try and drill down. But that sounds exciting. And coming from you and Don Boombar, Don, who has that great experience, and you, who brings a young, cutting-edge, thinking to all this, it's not surprising given what you guys have accomplished since you guys took over. So I'm looking forward to having you back. It sounds like it's going to be pretty soon. I don't even know, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty soon. So Francis, thanks for joining us today. And by the way, great sign in the back. That's the best sign we've had on this show by any client. Well done on that.
Thanks, George. Love being here. Thank you for your time.
You've been watching Francis Dubé. He's co-CEO at Zen Graphene Solutions. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol ZEN. Make sure you get to Agoracom to do your due diligence. Punch in the company's name or stock symbol. Take a look at all the profile information. Previous interviews we've done with Francis, they've been great interviews with great information. And as always, Francis and the team are available to you for all questions that you might have. Post them to the forum so everyone can see them, and you can expect this Francis team to answer those for everybody to see. Full transparency, and we love that kind of communication. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.